All right, Gears Tactics. We got an early copy from Microsoft. Thank you very much, Uncle Phil. We love you.
Shills.
We love you very much. And we played it, and we actually got it quite a while ago, so we've got some time to get through it. I like this game, can I say? I'm impressed by it, and I recommend it to you. That's my hot take at the start. Sam, do you want to say anything before we go to the drop?
What about all the watch time? It's gone now. Everyone knows what our opinion is. I also like it. God damn it. Let's drop. So guys, I don't have a lot, it's going to be, again, shocking as always, I don't have a lot of experience with XCOM games or whatever. I've played a little bit of Mario Rabbids on Thick Boy's Switch and whatever. Like, it's not really been something that I've really jumped into. So this for me was like, okay, cool, this is the first time I've spent, a few hours with a game like this. I'm actually thoroughly enjoying it. I think what they've done here is actually thoroughly enjoyable, and for people that have jumped on for XCOM games before and it hasn't really resonated with them, this may be the game that it's a bit more of a light version, and it might resonate more with you. That's where I want to start with that. It feels easier to digest.
Yeah, well, I think partly I agree with what you said, partly I disagree, right? In the sense that, so first of all, I've played a lot of XCOM 1 and 2, and, offshoots and whatever else, played Mario Rabbids, Kingdom Battle, played, like, DLCs and etc. Like, I actually really like this genre a lot. I really, get off on it. But I feel like this is not going to change your mind if you didn't like the XCOM games in the past, right? This is very much like those XCOM games. It really doesn't deviate from that template much. But I do feel like, as you've said, it's more accessible because it is. Like, it does have some changes made to difficulty that do make it easier to get into, right? Particularly around stuff like character death, where basically the characters enter a down state when they get shot, or like when their HP depletes. They can actually resurrect themselves, and they can be resurrected by other teammates. They can keep going. So it's really easy to keep squad members going through this campaign, rather than like every single move being so high stakes and they die and you're like, this is terrible. You know what I mean? It does make it easier to get into the title for that reason.
Yeah, I think that Gears of War has always had a feel like a rip and tear feel. Do you know what I mean by that? Like, you just get in there and there's a lot of killing, and it's usually quite fast paced, with that element, of course, getting behind walls and covering and whatever. And I think what they've done here is they've kept that relative speed for me, at least. Like, it does feel like you're able to down enemies quickly. There's certain types of enemies that are constantly being introduced to you, but all in all, they seem to be relatively easy to kill with that fast-paced nature that they're constantly throwing at you. And that's, for me, kept me very engaged.
Yeah, and there's also, on top of that, there's a feeling of momentum that really comes from this game, from execution. So basically, you can down an enemy, and then you can run up to them and execute them. And if you do that, it actually gives your teammates an extra move that turn. So you can, if you start chaining some of these executions together, you can give your troops up to 7 or 8 moves on one turn, which means that things move really fast and they can snowball quite quickly for you. I really like that part of it as well. I think you're right. I think it does move with more briskness than I think we've seen in other XCOM games. It's also just more sort of bloody and gory as well. Like, I think XCOM games are typically quite sort of cold and scientific, and I don't know, they're classic sci-fi, right? Where this is Gears of War, so you literally see chunks of flesh flying everywhere, and you've got these meaty, like, lancer sounds, and it feels very, very Gears. I actually am really impressed by how much this game feels like a Gears of War game, despite being in a totally different genre.
Yeah, I feel like it is very true to what I expected an XCOM Gears of War to be, in terms of the chainsaw and the moves and the executions and the hoo-ah yelling and whatever. Like, it still feels very Gears of War, And I think it would have been a real shame if they went down that kind of cool, calculated avenue, instead of giving you a more fast-paced XCOM and giving you the tools that you usually had in Gears of War, like the chainsaw and shit like that. But also, like, on a side note, there is a lot of, it's simplistic in its presentation, but the skill tree can add some oomph to this, like, as I went on, there's a lot of ways to create different strategies to, if you're going to be more of an executioner kind of person, or if you're going to be using certain type of weapons and all that kind of stuff. I felt like the skill tree was just a little bit more to kind of keep it interesting every single time you finished a mission.
I agree. That progression path was good. Those specialization options were real. There's also plenty of weapon customizations as well, because as you progress, there are like caches on the battlefield, and if you pick them up, then you take that gear back to base with you. You also just get rewards from finishing missions. Those weapon mods really significantly change your weapons, because it's not just like do 5% more damage. It's like have a 10% chance to fire an additional shot, or you know, heal yourself 25% whenever you deal damage, etc. So it really does allow you to create some very interesting hybrid builds if you combine the weapon mods with the character classes with the spec trees. And by the way, yes, there are 6 character classes, and they're all really cool and interesting, like shotgunners and heavy weapons dudes and tanks and supports and snipers and whatever. It's all really well constructed when you look at sort of like how the fundamentals of the game are built and how you continue to progress through it during the chapters.
Yeah, so another thing is, like, I know it's on PC, and for it to not be on console yet, it is coming. It's interesting. Let's face it, we don't usually see Xbox titles premiere first on PC. It's not really the done thing. It is coming though. We do know it's in development. But on top of that, it feels like such a mobile game in terms of its delivery. You know, I just wonder, A, when it is coming, and B, what were the decisions for not really making this a mobile game? Because, man, all the cosmetics, all the ways that you could customize your character, like, you know, if it was a free-to-play model, it might have, it'll sell really well now, but it'll also probably sell in that free-to-play market too.
I do agree with that. So first of all, there's no microtransactions in this game. You buy it, everything is available to earn for free. There are loot box caches, but literally, like, you pick them up off the battlefield and then you open them up and whatever. There are character customization options which are impressive. Look, you're right. You could take this model and say, well, it's a paid game on, you know, consoles and PC, and it's a free-to-play game on mobile devices, and here's how we monetize it. That's true. It could be that. It also is very common to see these XCOM style games make the move to mobile because the gameplay works really well in that regard. Like, it's not like a Twitch shooter or whatever. So yeah, like, it could definitely do that. Either way though, I don't look at this and think, oh, it's just a shitty mobile title that they've just put on a PC. Like, no, this is very much a deep, well-constructed XCOM style game that I'm very impressed with. I think one area that really stuck out for me was mission design. There are lots of different types of missions that you can do. So like, you know, for example, you have to go and rescue 2 people from pods simultaneously, or hold 2 positions down. Or there's one where like bombs keep coming up behind you and you need to continue to move forward quickly, otherwise you get caught in the bombs. There's a whole bunch of others, and there's boss battles as well. The boss battles are actually super impressive. Basically what you'd expect from a Gears of War game, but somehow delivered in a tactics model. Yeah, it's just really, really well put together. I think the one thing I didn't like was the story. Did you see much of the story?
Yeah, and I wasn't expecting much. I mean, look, I know the previous Gears of War, they had a great like amalgamation of, yes, it's a bit sad, and it's also very like army hoo-ah, like we're men, you know, we're not here to feel. Like they did a really good way of putting that together. From the story that I saw, it really wasn't giving you too much. It was really like, let's get to the next time that you're on the battlefield, you know. And like, I know a lot of games function that way, but this one especially felt that way. I was not tuned in at all with the story whatsoever.
Oh, definitely. I was really just trying to sort of click through it as quickly as possible. Like, I listened to it obviously, but I was like, oh, come on, please end. I really would have liked to have seen them go in a bit of a different direction, like tonally with this game. Like, take some risks with the Gears universe, maybe do something a bit weirder and funnier, a bit offbeat. I don't know. But yeah, they really played it very, very straight-laced, like a bit too straight-laced. Everyone you meet is kind of angry, like everyone just is constantly like, meh.
And has
at
no
least in
neck.
like the main line. Yeah, no neck. Yeah, and in the main Gears games, at least some of the characters are funny and they have some good lines. Like, no one has any good lines in this game, you know, so that's a bit disappointing.
But look, all in all, I really did enjoy this. I thought it was a fantastic game. And again, it's a great introduction for a lot of people that do want to play XCOM, or something that is slightly easily more digestible. And on top of that, you know, I thought the cutscenes, everything, it's very fleshed out for what they're trying to do. And I do feel like the Gears franchise is on a roll right now. The previous Gears 5 was great. For what it was trying to do. This is also great. I mean, I think if you jump on this and you like XCOM, you're not going to be disappointed. And I think there's only a matter of time before this becomes a mobile game, because it's just so ripe for that, you know? So who knows? Who knows?
I personally would really look forward to a sequel of this game. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. As someone who enjoys this genre and has played a lot of it, it's definitely more of that, okay? There's not a lot of innovation that takes place within this, but there are small tweaks that are well done. And I think its commitment to the Gears of War franchise really makes the whole thing feel quite fresh and distinct as separate from XCOM. And it's just really smartly constructed, and I really liked it. So you can get it on PC, you can pay for it, it's full price on Steam or on the Microsoft Store, or you can get it on Game Pass for like $10 and play it. And as I said, I just think you'll have a good time with it.
All right, guys, Laymen out.
Hey baby, I hear the blues are calling, tossed salads and scrambled eggs. Mercy. And maybe I seem a bit confused. Yeah, maybe, but I got you pegged. But I don't know what to do with those tossed salads and scrambled eggs. They're calling again. Scrambled eggs all over my face. What is a boy to do?